A mother's undying fury. The haunting of Elena. Conclusion. Elena's relentless hunt, guided by the whispers of the haunted, led her north, through hidden roads and shadowed towns, each step bringing her closer to the heart of the darkness. The trail of fear she left behind was a morbid map, pointing directly to a desolate ranch, nestled deep within a forgotten valley, its crumbling walls shrouded by the thick, indifferent brush. This was it. This was where Marisol was held. The ranch was guarded by men whose faces bore the marks of cruelty and greed, their eyes cold and empty. But they were no match for Elena. She moved through the night like a silent, chilling wind, a living shadow of bone and rage. The guards, slumped over their posts, were not killed by her hand, but by the sheer, unendurable horror she inflicted upon their minds. One awoke to find himself buried alive, the earth pressing down, the taste of soil in his mouth, only to gasp awake from the vivid torment, his body screaming in phantom claustrophobia. Another saw his own children, weeping and bloodied, accusing him from every dark corner until he collapsed, raving. Elena didn't need a weapon. Their guilt, magnified by her terrifying presence, was their undoing. She breached the main house, a structure reeking of despair and stale cigarettes. Within, a dozen girls, Marisol among them, huddled in a large, grimy room, their eyes wide with terror and hopelessness. Marisol, thinner, her bright spark dulled by fear, was weeping softly in a corner. As the last door creaked open, Elena stepped into the room. The girls screamed, a unified cry of pure dread. They saw her, a skeletal wraith, shrouded in decaying linen, her hollow eye sockets burning with an ethereal light, her breath a graveyard chill. They recoiled, pressing themselves against the far wall, their screams turning to choked sobs. But Marisol's scream was different. Amidst her terror, a flicker of something else ignited recognition. "And Mama," she whispered, her voice barely a breath. Elena moved towards her, not with the predatory stealth she used against her enemies, but with the slow, deliberate grace of a mother. She knelt before Marisol, her desiccated hand, bones stark against pale skin, slowly reaching out. Marisol, frozen by fear, flinched, but a primal, desperate longing pulled her forward. She reached out, trembling, her fingers brushing against her mother's cold, unyielding hand. It was chilling, horrifying, yet undeniably familiar. Marisol. Elena's voice was a dry whisper, like rustling leaves, yet it resonated deep within Marisol's soul, a sound she hadn't heard in months, a sound she thought she'd never hear again. "My child, I have come." The other girls, witnessing this macabre union, stared in silent, paralyzed awe. This was not a ghost seeking vengeance against them, but a protector. As dawn approached, Elena led the girls out of the ranch. The rising sun, usually a symbol of hope, cast long, distorted shadows of Elena's terrifying form, a stark reminder of her monstrous transformation. She guided them through the brush, out of the valley, and back towards the semblance of civilization. She ensured they found their way to the nearest town, to safety, to a chance at healing. Marisol, shaken but safe, clung to her mother's hand as they walked, the warmth of the living returning to her own fingers even as she felt the unnatural cold of Elena's. There was no joy in this reunion, not in the traditional sense, but a profound, terrifying peace. Elena's purpose was fulfilled. Her child was free. But the tale of Elena, the skeletal avenger, did not end with her daughter's rescue. The corrupt system that had allowed Marisol to be taken, that had shattered so many lives, still festered beneath the surface. Elena, a terrifying embodiment of a mother's eternal love and an unyielding horror, lingered. She didn't return to her grave. Instead, she became a silent guardian, a chilling legend whispered in the darkest corners of Mexico, a terrifying promise to those who preyed on the innocent, the mother who rose from the dead, her skeletal form a harbinger of pure, unadulterated fear, watching, waiting, to haunt any who dared to touch another child. And somewhere, always, Her daughter's cry, no longer one of despair but of distant memory, echoed in her hollow, burning eyes, a constant reminder of her terrifying, eternal vigil.